Hey everybody, it's Victor Agreda, and on this episode of Coders, we're going to be talking about bandwidth and mobile applications that need bandwidth. So join us after the break.
Telecom Careers, the #1 global telecom and wireless job board, telecomcareers.com. CommScope, thinking beyond today's technology to help you make the best decision for your network and your business.
Hey everybody, this is Victor, and joining me today is Haseeb
Qureshi.
Qureshi. All right, we'll say I'm Victor Agreda, so it's like people always get that wrong. Yeah, people say Agreda every single time, so there I completely feel your pain on that one. And speaking of feel your pain, I have been through the iOS development process, and so you have been through the iOS development process. Although I have to say, my app was really goofy. It was just it was like one of those love tester things. You would hold down a button and then it would tell you, how hot or cold you were as a romantic person. It's super goofy. Yours actually does something really cool and really impressive. So we want two things. First, we're going to talk about your app, and then we want to talk about the challenges of using an app like this in a mobile space where bandwidth is a concern for carriers, right? So first of all, tell us what's the name of your app and what it does.
Awesome. Yeah. So our app is Audiohand. That's like audio in hand. I'm going to hand you some audio. And we basically make good audio better. And we primarily focus on musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So we've programmed a multi-track studio mixer in the cloud for musicians to record with their phones.
Oh, wow.
And they could just mix right down to MP3 and share. Now we're working on stuff where they could post on the SoundCloud and Twitter and everything. But we launched March 19th in the Apple Store. We've chosen one platform, which we'll talk about, I guess, multi-platforms later on.
Yeah.
I am a technical founder. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Audiohand. So I coded the original beta, and now I have a wonderful team that helps me push it forward. And as of March 19th, when we launched, we have almost 2,000 installs.
Wow.
With almost like barely any marketing effort, I
Yeah.
really feel like. So we're very lucky, but it just shows that people have a hard time getting really good audio.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's always been a problem. When I saw the demo, and when's the first time you demoed this? It was actually here in Knoxville.
Yeah.
About a year ago, right?
It was last year. So me and Audiohand in general, we're kind of a product of one of the accelerators in town.
Okay.
So MediaWorks is the first digital marketing, digital accelerator in Tennessee. Actually one of the few in the country. And so we were the inaugural class last year.
Okay.
Graduated, I think it was August 4th or August 5th, something like that. Actually, I'm helping all the newer teams prepare for their pitches that are coming up.
There you go. That's right. Yeah. So this is the second year for that program, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And again, a great product that I've seen work. And we were talking about, the problems with this is that you have to deal with, you've got the 5S, right? And I've got a 6. And each one of these, even though Apple does a good job of sourcing its components, these are good components, but they always get better. And each one has a little bit of different tonality. And if you're a musician, that makes a big difference. Does whatever you're recording have enough dynamic range to be able to capture everything, right? So tell us a little bit about the overall process that happens at Audiohand, right? So people take the Audiohand app and they start it up and they start recording, and then they start playing. And you're talking about like 3 or 4 different people can be recording at the same time, basically, right? So everybody, like I'd launch it on my phone, and let's say you're the singer, you set it by you, and then I'm the, I don't know, harmonica guy, and I set it by me because that's all I know. And they record, right?
Yeah.
But then it goes up to the cloud, and you guys you say, here's the session ID, type that in, and that way it, everybody goes up and says, this is all part of one song.
Yep.
But then you guys have this amazing secret sauce that takes it in the cloud and actually mixes it and does the EQ and everything, so that what you get back is not just an MP3 as if everyone had taken their wave files and tossed it into GarageBand and go, and it's synchronized, it's EQ'd, it sounds amazing. Like
this is where I can divulge. So part of the secret stuff that makes Audiohand work, we use fingerprinting audio technology in a way that no one's, we think, have done before.
Mm-hmm.
So all of our tracks get aligned down to the millisecond. And then I have recording experience. I used to record and manage artists. I've recorded over hundreds of tracks. I managed a mastering facility out in Los Angeles. I heard the original Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon vinyl cut in the original room it was made in.
Wow.
So this was the experience that I had with it. And so as a coder too, I was able to actually program a Pro Tools rig essentially in the cloud.
That helps, and I think that honestly, what's been amazing to me is when I talk to developers and I ask them, why did you make an app? And for so many people, it's, well, I had been doing X for years and realized we needed something to help make that easier.
Yep.
And boom, they apply all of their knowledge. And some of these people weren't even developers to begin with.
Yeah.
They just learned how to develop because what they wanted didn't exist as a tool. And now we live in an age where you can do that. I interviewed a guy, Brian Miller, who's a screenwriter, and he does the carrot apps that yell at you when you don't do stuff. And they have character and they have a life of their own. And he brought his screenwriting experience to creating characters that chastise you, use negative reinforcement to change your habits.
You being a better human being.
Yeah, but it works. It actually works out pretty well. So as for you guys, you built this thing. And so obviously people are well, you've got what, 2000, about 2000?
About 2000
okay.
installs.
And how has that been just overall, in terms of demand? Is it sort of a constant sort of influx of people, or is it just, oh my gosh, it's
so
festival season?
We haven't hit the hockey stick yet. And I think so it's been steady.
Sure.
We had an initial push. The first day we were out in the App Store, we had almost 200 downloads. We've been featured in, I think, some of the app stores in different countries. And I think the highest ranking US, it's kind of low though, but I mean, I think we did crack top 400.
Oh, okay.
In music category, but I don't know if that says much.
Right.
But it has been steady. And I think what we've realized is that we've addressed that making good audio has been a huge pain point, especially for musicians. But really for anyone, even YouTubers or podcasters too, is you have to spend all this time.
Yeah. Now this is good for podcasts as well as music.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
It totally can.
Yeah. And that's something also that I see a lot of people struggle with is they lug around these blue microphones, those are great and all that, but the big ball and all this. And I gotta tell you, I trucked that big blue or that blue snowball through Austin security one time, and they stopped me because if you get the right angle, it looks like a shiv in a giant ball, like you're trying to smuggle a basketball with a knife inside of it or something. So
like you're carrying drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Just carry your iPhone, and then you've got this thing. So so speaking of iPhone, this is iOS only. Is there anything particular about the tool set that you found that was advantageous, or was it just something of personal preference?
Oh my goodness. So there were a few things. Well, one, it's easier to release a product, especially one that's, I guess it could be considered high tech. So it's easier to release a product that's only a one platform, especially when you're a nimble startup. I was the original person who coded it, right, with friends of help of friends. But now we have a team of 6-7 people, but we don't have offices. We're not, we don't have payroll.
Yeah.
We're still making it. And I think what helped us is that, and I think this is going to kind of touch on the stuff that we were talking about before, cross-platform. The beta, the first version, the prototype of Audiohand was built on something called Appcelerator's Titanium platform. And so what that platform allows you to do is write JavaScript, which is a lot more accessible to learn than Xcode or Java for Android. And it actually spits out iOS, it spits out Android, it can even spit out Windows, cross-platforms.
Wow, okay.
So the reason why we went to iOS is that we knew our customer segments all used iPhones.
Yep.
4 out of 5 musicians typically have an iPhone because it's just so easy to use. And it's pretty much you get it out of the box and you're ready to go.
Yep.
Right. So we picked iOS in particular, but we've had a lot of musicians tell us that they wish they had it for Android too.
Yeah.
Originally, we thought we were going to make this all a web app.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that's faster, easier to code. It's multi-platform. But out of all the platforms, you know which one didn't give you access to the microphone? I bet you don't know.
Chrome?
No, it does. Chrome does. Chrome actually and Google, they have a wonderful web audio API. There's some killer audio
Google
stuff.
Talk and all of that, that works out for Hangouts. You just need a video conferencing machine. Yeah, Chromebook is fantastic.
Yeah, Safari. Apple Safari won't let you access the microphone, but it'll allow you access to the camera.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. So that's why chat roulette never worked for me. Okay. Good grief. All right. Well, but and you're right. Like, I think that's a key also for developers to think about. This is a business concern. So you think about, who is my market? What is my market segment? And you may say, oh, well, we want to do it cross-platform. But look, when you're small, you have to really focus hard on getting it right on one platform first and make sure that that works solidly. And then it's going to be a way easier for you to go to another platform, because you've already figured out not so much the technical behind the scenes bugs. It's more things like the user interface, the flow, a little bits and pieces, and some of it will affect your code. Once you get that streamlined, your core code, again, that's the whole point of object-oriented programming, right?
Well, yeah, check this out. When we launched, we thought that everyone records together. We thought musicians just record with other musicians. Then we found out that 90% of people using Audiohand ended up recording alone. And then we realized, you know what? It's kind of limited opportunities. We're more obviously spending more time with ourselves than we are with other people.
Yeah.
And musicians, turns out that only 10% of the top musician class are like the ones that are actually making it, gigging, playing with other people actively. But those are the same people who already can afford studio time.
Right.
So after all this, we've realized, well, now we're on this, we're refining the company vision, and now we're all about instant audio gratification. We're developing audio filters for our audio tracks, much like how Instagram filters and photo filters are.
Nice.
So you'll be able to select filters and purchase them in-app, and we'll load a lot that are pretty meaningful. And you get a tap and then select the intensity of how much you want on it.
Right on.
That way, tap, tap, tap. I'm a rock star mixer.
Yeah.
But we've had a couple of things about video come up, and we've purposely stayed with audio because cellular data just isn't good enough for video yet.
So let's talk about that. I mean, bandwidth, these are music files, right? And music files, while not as big as video, still take up a considerable amount. When you're talking about a few megabytes at a time, even for just a short clip.
Right.
So if you're doing a 6-minute song, that's a considerable amount of data that you're pushing up and back. Now, how does that work for you guys to think about that from that mobile, understanding that not everyone has Wi-Fi all the time?
So what we've done, it's weird because we pride ourselves on quality, but yet we understand these limitations. So what we've done explicitly is give people, we load the app with standard with compression, and we use basically MP4A's version of the compression. So it's supposed to be a lossless, but you still define a bit rate, so it's not entirely lossless.
Right. Yeah.
From blind audio tests, we've determined that sounds the best, better than MP3s, which is kind of funny. It takes less space up too.
Sure.
But we also give people the option to pipe up waves. So uncompressed linear PCM files, which gobble up your memory. So what's kind of neat is that you can have about an hour worth of audio, and I think on Audiohand it's only going to take you up to 50 megs.
Oh wow,
something like that. Like we've picked the right amount. But see, our servers, when you pipe it up, we've rigged this all so that what's happening in the server, we upsample the hell out of it, and it's all into FLAC, so it's completely lossless.
Yeah.
And then it comes back as either 192 or 256 MP3, whatever we decided sounded the best.
Yeah. Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Now, MP3, I think, is the older of the compression or of the algorithm. So it would make sense maybe that I know it's lossless, but lossless really just means sort of something else. Really. It's I used to know this stuff, compression, really, really well, but then, as it always does, it continues to evolve.
It's interpretive.
There you go.
So MP3s, the compression algorithms, it's fixed. Like, all right, we're only going to take these frequencies out of your audio, bandwidth, and be like, boom, this is your audio file.
It's sort of the difference between the old style Apple headphones, where they're just like everybody's ears a circle, versus the new ones where they literally took hundreds of ears and then averaged, and they tried to make one that fit everything. Yeah, because MP3 is basically just like all of this. Most humans can't hear that well, so extract that, and But where's okay. All right, I feel better about my own knowledge and skills now. But for you guys, I mean, that's still, 50 megs is actually pretty darn good. Have you had anybody sort of complain about like, oh, this is eating up my data or anything like that?
No, we haven't.
That's good.
And even better, we've had compliments on the battery usage too.
Oh, excellent.
So we
That's tricky.
we had a podcast that we got invited to when about a week or two when we launched.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did that, they did the normal podcasting, much like this. We have this microphone. We're actually not podcasting; we're broadcasting. But they had a microphone set up. We ended up also strapping phones onto each microphone.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
So we did a shootout, and so we audio handed everything for 2.5 hours long, and it held up. It only killed their battery by 4%.
Wow.
Which we were like, that's better than we thought.
That is really excellent. Well, it's always good when things come out better than you think.
Well, the first version, the cross-compiled version that we wrote, if you locked the screen, it would kill itself after 10 seconds.
Oh. But is that a limitation of iOS, or just you guys weren't?
No, that's a limitation of the cross-compilation stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So anything, it's a balance. You get something, you definitely lose something.
That's one thing that I've found, because there's a guy here who's local, who's a huge mono advocate, and there are other people who are code once and then deploy, and it's like that's great. But there's a couple of things there that developers need to be aware of. First of all, like especially Apple, I know, but Google to a certain extent as well. If you aren't really utilizing their frameworks, especially the new ones that came out for that OS, you're going to have a harder time being featured in their store.
Hell yeah.
That is a marketing decision, and they specifically make that because they don't make these frameworks just for laughs and giggles. You know what I mean? Like they're doing it to show off stuff, and they want apps that show off their new technology. So that's a big deal. The other thing too is that there's little quirks and nuances that if you aren't coding natively, you're going to miss out on. And there's optimization that's a big one too. And if you're looking to do something like where you want to make the battery as efficient as possible, you really have to get down to the nitty gritty.
You really
and do the native development.
Yeah,
cross-platform's great. It's really great for prototyping, and it's great for maybe setting a vision or pitching VC.
I wouldn't do it any other way. Actually,
Sure.
I would never go into like straight up iOS just for prototyping.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, maybe with storyboarding, but
maybe. But in terms of like just getting something built very quickly, I also that the tool that you were talking about, was that again the
Accelerator Titanium?
Accelerator Titanium. Okay, that sounds really good. I'll have to check that
out. It's really good. Actually, I've built a few apps for clients using that platform too.
Okay, great.
That's how I pay the bills. I have clients.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Well, and like a lot of developers, you guys are still getting started.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this great product. You had a great idea. You've executed well. But it's not like markets just fall out of the sky. And it's certainly not like customers fall out of the sky, because everyone's competing for your attention nowadays. To that end, of course, we're going to wrap up in just a couple of minutes here. But I did want to say that is there one thing that you would ask of carriers? In terms of your business proposition, you would do video, right? If you had the bandwidth was not a concern.
It'd be something we consider.
Yeah. So if there's one thing that you could, John Legere might be, listening. You never know. I don't know if any of the other CEOs, but the T-Mobile CEO seems to be pretty sharp. Maybe he's listening. So what would you say to these guys? What would you ask of them?
I would say reliability. All right, that's like the most. And I know we have FCC regulations. I completely I'm a lawyer too. I totally get the regulation world. I totally get it. But man, when my phone jumps towers, or if I'm in one single location and it's trying to decide whether to be on LTE or 4G, and one significantly crappier data than the other, as a developer, making something that's trying to make something great, like a user experience that's solid, now we have to go through the pains and troubles of, oh God, the connection can't really upload that data.
Yeah.
And so we have to reset it. So imagine for audio, it's like a 3 meg upload, right? Well, what if for video? Video, you're talking about a 150, 200 megabyte upload sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes compressed.
Yeah.
So I'd say to cellular, just start using your stuff in the edge case situations, and then decide if you're proud of what you're working on day by day. Just look at the edge cases.
Yeah. or wait around for Facebook to fill the sky full of laser planes that will be providing free Wi-Fi to everybody.
No,
around
I'm
the
waiting for
world.
Elon Musk, man. He's going to shoot up Wi-Fi in the satellites.
It's going to be a battle for Wi-Fi in the skies. It's
We're all going to have
yeah.
Tesla-powered, houses. And actually, I kind of think that's cool.
I think it's fantastic. Laser guided houses riding on waves of Wi-Fi across the country. Sounds awesome. So with me has been Haseeb Qureshi.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right. And you guys check out Audiohand. It's a fantastic app. Very, very cool stuff. This has been Coders episode 20. I'm Victor Agreda, and join us next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Coders is a production of RCR TV News. To reach Victor Agreda Jr. or to suggest a show topic for Coders, you can reach him on Twitter at Superpixels. For all the latest news on wireless code and the whole world of wireless, check out rcrwireless.com.